Alright guys, so today I'm going to teach you how to make some creative 360 transitions just like these.
1, 2, 3, let's go!
Now I'm not gonna lie, I was actually super impressed by the results that I was able to get out of a 360 camera. Like, it almost looks like those seamless transition packs, except you don't have to do anything when you're actually shooting. You just hold it, and then in post, you do everything. So let's not waste any time and get straight into it. The first thing you'll need is obviously a 360 camera, and you need to shoot a bunch of 360 clips so we can use them in the editing. I've been shooting all my clips on the Insta360 1X, and I absolutely love this camera. It is so good and so compact, but if you want to find out more on my thoughts on it, I'll leave a link up here so you can check out the full review. So now if we look at the clips by themselves, they actually don't look that interesting. Like, it's just me holding out the camera in front of me. Nothing too special. And when I'm actually shooting 360 clips, I like to just hold the camera out in a whole bunch of different positions. So like, I'll hold it out in front of me, I'll kind of like hold it behind me, above me, out to the side, like just get creative with it, and it will allow you to transition to different looking shots. So you can see from these clips how much of a difference it makes if you're holding in front of you, or behind you, or above you, and it kind of gives you that different perspective. Now, one thing you do need to get before we can start is the GoPro Reframe plugin, but I'll leave a link down below, so just make sure you click on that, download it, and install it before you load up Premiere or whatever software you're gonna be using, and then we can get started. Alright guys, so once we have installed the GoPro Reframe plugin, we can open up Premiere and bring in our clips. Right, now one thing to mention is that when you import Insta360 or 1X clips anyway into Premiere Pro, because it has like the image from the two lenses, it actually imports it like twice, but you don't actually need both of them, you just need one of them. But as you can see, there's like a few duplicates here. So don't like just import them all into your clip, just kind of like find the ones that you want, or if you do import them all in, then just delete every second one, because there's obviously a duplicate of everything. But once we have our clips in here, then we can basically make a new sequence. I'm going to make a 4K sequence, so 3840 by 2160. Just call this 360 transitions. Now, another thing to mention as well is that 360 footage is actually quite hefty for your computer to kind of handle. Mine chugs quite a bit, so I actually have made like a little bit of a proxy to use proxies with 360 footage. So if you want to find out more about that, I'll leave a link down below to that if you want to download it. That will definitely help you out in speeding up your actual editing process. So let's drag this clip in, and straight away it doesn't look that great. Like, it's just like, it looks just like a standard clip. So we need to go into effects and type in GoPro Reframe. We go to GoPro FX Reframe, drag this on, and now we'll see it crops in like this. So because I'm using a 4K sequence, we need to change it from GoPro HD to 4K. But if you are just using a 1080p sequence, then you can just leave it on the default settings. And now we're in here, we can actually start doing some cool stuff. So like lens zoom, we can zoom out, we got pans, we can actually pan around, we got tilt, we can tilt up and down, like we can rotate the camera. We can do heaps of cool stuff. The cool thing about the GoPro Reframe plugin is that it automatically has motion blur turned on. So if you have keyframes, it'll automatically add that motion blur, and that's how I was able to get that really cool like motion blur transition between the two clips. So this is the general workflow if you just want to throw 360 clips into your timeline, you can like reframe them and whatnot, but to do the transitions between it, it's slightly different workflow. So how we're going to do this is, instead of dragging it into our 4K sequence, we're actually going to drag the clip into a new sequence, and it will make it the size of the clips. This is like a 5.7K sequence, I think. So it's a little bit bigger, but we need that wide aspect ratio. So now once we're in here, we basically go in and we find the portion of the clip that we want. Alright, so once we've found the portion of the clip that we want, perfect, that's the first one. Let's find the next one that we want. Oh, here, so this bit's behind. So let's grab this portion of the clip. All right, so we've got a clip that's in front of me and a clip that's behind me. Obviously on the first clip, we're on the right side of frame, on the next clip, we're on the left side of frame, but we'll fix that in a sec. But basically we want to time up our clips to our music in the sequence itself. So let's quickly bring in a music track. All right, so I'm gonna transition to the other clip on here. Perfect. Okay, so now we've edited the clips to the beat. Basically, we want to drag that sequence into our 4K sequence, and then we can apply that GoPro reframe again. So now if we look at it, Set this to 4K. And let's zoom out a bit. Kind of like set up our reframe. So now if we look at this, come on, Pewter, you can do it. So if we play it, you can see the first clip, but then as it transitions to the next clip, you don't see me, I'm nowhere to be seen. So this is where we need to do our whip transitions. Another thing I like to do as well is if we go back into the original sequence and go to the end of the first clip and set a marker, when we go back to our sequence, it actually shows up down here. So we know exactly where that transition point is. So basically, before the transition, we need to set up the start of our camera move. So let's do a pan. So let's start here. And then afterwards, we need to basically do our pan. So I want to do a kind of like 90-degree whip. Okay, so we're actually really lucky because these clips lined up perfectly, but it's not always the case, but I'll show you how to fix that in just a sec. So now we've got this, let's go into this first keyframe, right click and choose ease out, and go to the second one and choose ease in, and that'll just smooth out that camera movement. So again, if we play this back, you can see the difference. All right, so we've got our first clip, and then we have the camera move, whips around, and we see it, but you can clearly see the transition. So what we need to do is we need to go back into our original sequence, and all I do is just add a crossfade. So let's go apply default transitions, and we just have a quick crossfade. And now if we watch it back, it just looks so much better because as it's whipping, it kind of like fades, and you can't really see the transition at all. But you can take it one step further, which is what I did, and basically change these keyframes to auto Beziers. But what you actually need to do is select the first keyframe, copy it, and paste one a little bit early in the clip, and then grab the second one and paste that a little bit later in the clip. And now you basically have these 4 keyframes. Make sure they all are auto Bezier. And now if you watch this, you get that real nice like whippy, transition-y looking thing that I've used in my clip. I think it looks really cool. It looks a lot more organic. It kind of looks like it's like a cameraman that's kind of like slowly kind of like moving around and stuff rather than just having it like perfectly dead still and then just kind of like whips and then stops. So now you watch it back, you can see it kind of like gets ready and then whips and then kind of like falls back into it as well. But this isn't as quick as I really wanted, so let's find that midpoint where it actually transitions and let's make this really quick because we want a lot of motion blur so you can't really see when we do the crossfade. So let's try this one. Gonna run out of memory card space. All right, so let's watch this back again. And that was way better. You can hardly even see like the crossfade in there. That is so good. So that is essentially the basics of it. So now if you add a clip in and you whip and you're not actually in frame, all you need to do is basically go to this second clip and add a offset effect. So if we add this in and we come up to here, basically you have this shift center to, and if we grab this left one, we can basically move you anywhere in the clip. So basically if you were on the left side but you weren't in shot, or you need to be on the right side, you can basically shift yourself over. So now if we go back to the reframed sequence, we can see that as the camera whips around, obviously it's looking backwards, not forwards at me. But if you were to offset it, then you basically just go back to the sequence and go, okay, I'm somewhere around here, just keep offsetting it until you get it into the right position. So this is the basic principles needed to do these 360 transitions, and then you can just apply it to anything. So you can do it to the pan axis, the tilt axis, the rotate axis, the zoom axis, like whatever you want to do, just basically do your keyframes, add the movement in, and then come into that original sequence where you have all your clips, and then you basically just use the offset tool to basically put yourself in the spot that you need to be, and then that's basically it. And then you just make as many as you want, render it out, and you get a cool clip that looks something like this. Guys, that is pretty much it. Now I really love this because it means that you can get some really creative transitions and go between different scenes and stuff, but it's really easy to shoot. Like anyone can shoot it, and as long as you know how to edit it, then you can make some really cool clips. But if you did like this tutorial, then consider liking and subscribing for more. And as always guys, stay creative and just be you.